SK here. I have a story this morning for you, but first I want to say welcome back, welcome crew members to this channel, and that my channel is from my perspective of off-gridder, retired, uh, older person um, doing the homesteading thing and living a life based on faith. So this story is about the banana bread that I posted on my channel in the community section a day or two ago. And there's a backstory to that banana bread. I was looking for a recipe and my daughter-in-law had baked some, and what I was looking for in my banana bread was something moist with a lot of the banana flavor. And I know everyone's probably got their favorite banana bread recipe that, could have come down from your grandma, and it has walnuts and it has pecans or it has macadamia nuts or whatever. But this particular recipe, I like a moister banana bread also. And so that I use that recipe. It's called Maui banana bread. And she gave me, the ingredients. And so I baked some because I had found for like $1 for a bag overripe, which to me were not even close to being overripe, bananas for sale at my local store. And I'm not normally a person who just likes to eat bananas plain. Um, if I do, I like them overripe because they tend to get sweeter. But also, I try to incorporate bananas into our diet for the potassium levels, right? And then you have to look at issues around bananas for sale in the US and whatever. It doesn't matter. I decided to make the bread. And so I'm going to use my wood cook stove. And I have, over the years in using it, sort of formulated how many logs it takes to get it so hot and whatnot. And also because we use a wood stove, I and my husband have sort of figured out which woods are burning hotter, which are burning less hot. And so with those particular loaves, I had some black locust logs that I cut with my own little chainsaw. And so they had kind of brought the temperature up in that stove quickly, which is what I wanted, but then it went a little too far. And so those loaves got a little bit browner on the outside than I wanted, but overall they were okay. And so I saved one for the Sabbath meal with our congregation, and then I put one on the counter on a paper plate with some tin foil to cool down, and then Pastor and I had already eaten like 4-5 slices off of it for our breakfast. And so yesterday we went to see the Homestead movie put on by Angel Studios, us and a group of our congregation. And there's a whole story I will get into about that later. We get home and our dog, the Rhodesian Ridgeback, and they are food-oriented dogs, folks, and they love things like cheese and butter, had reached up on the counter and eaten the loaf. And I sort of knew it might have happened as we drove towards the theater. I had this thought, wait a minute, it's right there. He could eat that. And he definitely had. We're very angry with him, yelling at him, and kind of disappointed because it makes a very good breakfast if you put like a slice of cheese and an egg on it. Or the last time I ate it, I had made a pumpkin like sauce, and I'd put the pumpkin sauce on it and eaten it, and it was tasty and good for me and all that other stuff. So I had 4 bananas left, and I decided today, as part of my prep, that I would go ahead and make some more bread. And the recipe is pretty simple. I could basically do most of it by memory from making it 2 days ago, and I do it all by hand. So it takes a little while, and there's a process. But in the meantime, the wood stove, I'm heating it up. I'm putting in logs, and I'm doing things to the wood stove, like opening the back of it to make the air go up the pipe instead of across the stove initially, because it'll go up faster, and to open the air so there's more air flowing. So the kitchen is getting nice and warm. It's a lovely warmth that stove puts out. It's dry warm, And so it's the kind of thing like if you take a blanket out of the dryer and just wrap yourself in it, it's that kind of warmth. It's really nice. And also because I made Irish stew today, the Irish stew is on there warming, and then I put a sauce, a beef stroganoff sauce that I had made a few days earlier and had left over. It was also warming on the stove. So the kitchen is starting to be warm and smelling really good. And so I put the loaves in and I set the timer for 15 minutes, and the stove was not very hot. And I just put a log or two in to get it up to the temperature I needed. 15 minutes later, I go back to check my 2 loaves, and they are already black on the outside. And it's very disappointing to me because I'm trying to make the loaves the way you're supposed to. They're cooked 50 to 60 minutes at 350, and I checked the temperature on the stove. It's 450 degrees. The wood that I was putting in was oak, and it was dry. And so it went to temperature much faster than I thought it was going to. I didn't know it was oak until I asked Pastor about it, and it was too late. So then I had to quickly do things to the stove to reduce the heat, which, closing off some of the air and redirecting the air again and opening the door of the stove, which brought the temperature in the house up probably 5 degrees already. And the good thing for me, the blessing for me, is that my husband likes black burnt food. It's just another flavor to him. And so I cut a little bit of the top off, and I gave it to him, and he liked it. So I thought, all right, we'll just let the temperature reducing things that I did, that's a timer too, let those things work for a little while. So I set the timer, and I sat down and I did some office type work and let the temperature of the stove reduce down. And when it went off the next time and I checked the bread inside was done. When I took it out the first time, the outside's burnt, the inside's still moist. So when I got the toothpicks and I put the toothpicks into the bread loaf, the first time it came out sticky. So the inside's not done. And so when I put it in at the correct temperature for about 15 minutes, the next time the toothpick comes out and it's done. So I now have 2 more loaves, plus the loaf for the congregation. The dog's not going to get any more of it. And I'm going to heat that up for breakfast for us. And then Pastor is going to have I'm going to have the stroganoff sauce on top of mine. And then Pastor's going to have his on a different bread. But he's already got a pile because I cut the burnt tops off the loaves. He already has a pile of those on a paper plate in his office, and he'll take care of them. So it all worked out okay. But it's just another day in the life of living as an off-grid person with a wood cook stove. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching. I miss you guys. I hope everyone's doing well, and I'll see you on the next video. Bless you. Shalom. I think I ran out of memory. Maybe I didn't. Come on.